Welcome to CS230. This is week 11. This is lecture 22, lesson 1. And in this series of lessons, I'm going to show you how to build a single page application for the RESTful API that we worked on last week. So there's 5 short lessons here, and I'm going to work through them in order, and by the end we should have a really nice front-end, web-based front-end for our RESTful API. And the first thing we need to do, of course, is to understand the tools that we're going to use to make this happen. So we need to make use of Jquery. We need to revisit our Jquery, and we're going to use Bootstrap for our CSS and for handling our interaction design. We're going to use Handlebars, which is a view template in conjunction with ExpressJS, to populate our views and our data front end with data that we extract from the RESTful API. And we're just going to use Font Awesome as well, because we need to get some nice glyphs and icons for buttons. So that means we've got to install all that stuff first and set it up into our project. So first thing we're going to do, and in this lesson we're going to look at the setup for the NodeJS modules and the front-end frameworks. So we need to have this view engine for NodeJS and ExpressJS. And view engines are a way to set up templates that we can populate with data that we extract from the database. So just quickly go and show you the kind of view that we're interested in having. So here's a nice view for our database, and we can see all the data has been pulled from the database, and we want to be able to manage and have all these buttons. We'll talk about the interface a little bit later, but basically we have a fundamental basic template, and then when we make our call to the RESTful API, we get this list of data that's populated. Okay, so view engines they work really nicely and well with ExpressJS, and I think we shouldn't have any problem using them, because we did see one already. I used Pug, I think it was, earlier in an earlier module, and it worked just nice as well. So, but this time I'm going to use Handlebars. There are others, and Pug is really popular, EJS is popular, Mustache and Handlebars are other populars. I'm going to use Handlebars because it's a superset of Mustache, can be used to do everything that Mustache does, and it has some additional logic. It's also really simple and comes with compiled templates. It has better path support when compared to Mustache, and it also has better support for global helpers than Mustache. And so we're just going to use we'll use Handlebars. I like it, and it's very, very simple to use for this particular app. So that's one thing that we need to set up, and we also need to set up and download Bootstrap and Jquery and so forth. We'll see that a little bit later. Okay, so very easy to install Handlebars. I just went to my quotations app, I used npm install HBS, and then when it was done, you could see that HBS was added to my package.json file. So all very easy to do this. So HBS requires us to be able to have templates and put them somewhere. We also need to have somewhere to store our Bootstrap and Jquery, JS and CSS. So I'm making a couple of extra directories in the public directory we had earlier. So there's JS directory and the CSS directory. I got my Jquery here, I got my Bootstrap here, and I got my Font Awesome here. So, and I basically copied mostly the minified versions of those files into the directory. So you can see there's a new update to everything here. If we just do a tree on the public directory, we'll see all our CSS. There's quite a bit of Bootstrap in here. I don't specifically use Grid, but I put it in. Here's Bootstrap. All is the Font Awesome, that library. I just copied it directly across, and the web fonts are also there from Font Awesome. Bootstrap bundle and the minified version of the Bootstrap bundle is good. I use this rather than just Bootstrap itself, because the bundle includes popper.js, and I need that popper for some nice user interface stuff a little bit later as well. And of course, I'm using Jquery 3.5 here, and it's there. So everything is absolutely fine. So that's all I need. Where possible, include the minified versions, because that tends to speed up your app in terms of downloads and so forth. Okay, so now that we have all that, we want to have a look at the functionality that I have. You've already seen the user interface, of course. And what I've done here is I've included a bunch of screenshots for you to work through, and you can see how this was the default interface that I've created, and we can quickly see some of the features, and I'll just show you it working before we move on to the next section. So It's quite nice. I think it's quite nice. It works well. And I mean, of course, this is only one user interface because of the fact that we're decoupling the user interface from the actual RESTful API. It means that we can have any kind of interface we like, and we're just populating the data and manipulating the data using RESTful API calls. So we're consuming that RESTful API within this particular app. And you could build an app for your mobile, you could build a different style or look of app, it doesn't matter. I just want one that looks like this. It was how I imagined it to look, and I built it. So here's some of the functionality that we might have. You can see that I like, well, the core, we have this list, okay? So we have this list of data that sits in the middle of my table, okay? So that's, and it's all organized as a table. I have the quotation here, I have the author here, and it includes functionality for filtering this list of authors. So, I mean, I want to search the list that I currently have extracted from the database, and I want to be able to search them and filter or make a query on the quotation itself or on the actual author. For example, I might want to find all the quotations in my database by George Orwell, or, I might want to actually look at quotations that have something that relate to father. Of course, this is not a literary quotation, so we'll delete this later. So that means we have to have update and delete functionality in here. And we also want to have an add functionality to be able to add a new quotation to the database. This particular one here is a different kind of search to the live search that happens up here. Okay, and the way the live search I expect it to work would be, as we start typing in this little box here, it filters the actual results, and then so we only see the results in the table that match our data. This one allows us to make an actual API call that searches, and now we don't have the API functionality to do that yet, but we'll write that and add 2 additional routes to our API and write the appropriate controllers, and it'll be fine. And this allows us to find stuff. So and we have our update and delete buttons. Okay, so the functionality works here. We click in the search field, we can find something. It'll be nice. We can search for quotations or authors in this field here, and you see that little pop-up that comes up, and that's why I needed a popper.js functionality that works nicely with Bootstrap as well. So that's why I included the bundle. This is a Moodle dialog that allows us to be able to add a new quotation. So if we click the add button here, we get this dialog. And so, we extract quotation, the author, it performs a validation, and we use Bootstrap, and it works very nicely with this. So it's a good way to make that one happen. We can update an existing quote, and you can see I wanted to click on this one because, Luke, I am your father is the incorrect one, so we want to update that a little bit later in the database and make it no, I am your father. Again, there's validation. We might want to delete a quotation, and it gives us a modal dialog for this, and you can see you might show a little bit of what we've clicked because it isn't obvious in the modal, but otherwise. We can perform that database search for father here. We get that list back. It's a limited list, and we can see the match here. And I also have this little breadcrumb at the top to show us that we're searching this in the database. We can search for filter, so we can click here, okay, to bring us back to our root, and we can do a filtered list. So if we wanted to search for people, we would see that we could limit the actual list as well, and we can search for authors as well. So when we do something, it's nice to get some feedback. So we have some confirmation alerts here. There's one for success and one for failure. So that's everything that we want to be able to do with this particular user interface. Let's quickly go there and see some of it working quickly. So if I want to look for father, so you can see the limits here. We don't want this Luke, I am your father in the database here, so we'll delete this one. Okay, we'll delete this. Here's our quotation. And it was successful. And we wait, and it comes back, and we notice it's gone from the list. We can find something in the database. We can look for people in the database here, just for quotations. We can find this, and we can see that there were 2. Okay, and we can look and filter this list by author for look at Margaret Atwood, for example. So we can see that we're filtering a list here. We can just go back to the beginning, and everything works fine. We could click one and add it if we wanted, and we won't do that just now. So the functionality is there. It's fine. It works nicely. Okay, so we'll see how to make this happen in the next few lessons. Thank you very much for watching.